If I asked you what your plan was for how you're going to make money from your artwork, would you be able to answer me without just kind of vaguely gesturing at your products and hoping for the best? Yeah, I thought so. Don't worry. It's totally normal. You are not alone. I used to be in that same boat. But actually creating a coherent business plan for how I was going to reach six figures was so helpful. It does not take a business degree to figure this stuff out. All you have to do is answer 5 questions. So grab a thing to write with because over the next few minutes, we are going to be writing a business plan that will help you take your business to six figures in 2026. And because you're building a creative business about your creative work, we have to start there. And I want you to get very specific about what it actually is that you are creating. Saying a webcomic or landscape paintings is not good enough for our purposes here today, okay? That is not sufficient. I want you to tell me what it actually is that you are creating, what it is about. Because if you're writing a webcomic, you are not just creating a webcomic, right? You're writing a coming of age story or a space opera science fiction romance, like whatever it is, there is more to it than just the thing that it is, the medium. There's a message too behind it. So the specific question that I want you to answer is, what are you making? And your answer should follow a very clear format. I am making blank about blank. And as you come up with your answer, I want you to think about your connection to the work that you are making, what story you are telling, or what feeling you want to evoke in your audience. So let me give you some examples of what this will look like in practice. Maybe you're like my student Naomi, who creates these beautiful paintings celebrating the kind of quiet moments of everyday life, the morning light in the kitchen, the tea cooling on a, gentle windowsill. Or maybe you're writing a cozy fantasy novel about found family and what it means to belong somewhere after years of not fitting in. Or maybe you're doing something totally different and you're creating like crazy high concept virtual reality experiences that allow you to step into the, surface of another world and experience that kind of childlike wonder and amazement. It could be anything. It could literally be anything. This is about getting to the core of what you are creating. And when you have clarity on what your work is actually about, not just the medium, but the message, everything gets so much easier. It'll be easier to talk about your work, to know who would love it, and to build a business around it. And by the way, if you are watching this video before October 25th, 2025, I will be hosting a totally free, live, hands-on workshop where I will literally give you like a to-do list of what to do and when to do it to actually grow your business to 100K. So if you feel like you spend hours kind of spinning your wheels, focusing on the wrong things, and you just want someone to tell you what to do, I will happily tell you exactly what to do at this free live event. There will be a QR code on screen and also a link in the description, and I hope to see you there. Again, it is totally free. So now that you know what you're making and what it's actually about, we have to talk about a thing that is probably going to make some folks a little uncomfortable. If you try to reach everyone with your work, to try to be this universally beloved figure, you are probably going to end up reaching no one. And I know the idea of picking a specific audience feels a little nerve-wracking. I know you are worried about potentially scaring away customers and missing out on money, but that is not what's going to happen. When you say my work is for everybody, you have given yourself an impossible task because how do you reach everybody? Literally, how? Like, do you have to buy an ad at the Super Bowl? Like that, even that will not reach everybody, right? How do you connect with everybody? How do you like craft a message that everyone will find relatable? That is really challenging. Even Thomas Kincaid was a very controversial figure, and he literally set out to make art, quote unquote, for everybody. Like it's not possible to do this. It is literally not possible. And if we compare this idea, this kind of daunting task of trying to reach everyone with trying to reach someone, it's like night and day different, okay? It is literally so different. The idea of trying to reach everyone feels overwhelming. But imagine if you were actually to pick a specific audience and be very clear about who your work is for. Let's say that my work is for people that want to unplug from social media and appreciate life more, the quiet moments, the everyday, because that's what life is. Life is the everyday. That repetition, that routine, those quiet moments that you have all the time. It is not the once a year vacation. That is not when you are alive. Imagine if like your work was just for people and you were to say this just for folks that want to appreciate that every day, that want to be more mindful of that want to fill their home with reminders of the life they are living and to romanticize that and glorify that and find joy there. That's way clearer. That is way more specific, right? Like imagine if that was who your audience was. Now you have so much clarity on, what those people value, what they find important, where they spend their time, what interests them. That specificity is way more valuable long term than trying to say, oh, my art's for everybody. What does that even mean? That's incomprehensible of a statement. That is also just patently untrue, first of all, right? Like the choices that you are making as a creative will just naturally alienate some folks. People are not going to love your work all the time. Take my business, for example. I do not create content just for artists. I create content for ambitious creatives that want to make money. If you have this belief that art and money like just cannot mix, if you think that marketing is like really disgusting and unethical, probably you're not watching my content, right? Probably you're not like watching this video, for example. I create content for a very specific person. And that naturally means that not everyone's gonna like me, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to love your work all the time, and that is okay. You have to say very explicitly who your content is for, and knowing that will help make everything in your business easier because then you'll know like what to say in your content. I have so much clarity on what content to create, what products to offer because I know who my audience is. I know you. I get comments all the time saying, "Oh my god, Kelsey, how do you always create the perfect video for me?" And it's because I know you. I have put in the work, right, to like figure out your psychology and the stuff that you're into. So the question you have to answer is who would love the work that you are making? Think about what their life looks like again, right? Like what they are struggling with, what they are already interested in. Get as specific as you possibly can. If it helps to kind of break it up into personas or like kind of fake people, do that too. There is going to be some variety in there. That's okay. And I also wouldn't worry too much about potentially excluding people because someone that doesn't fit perfectly into kind of your ideal audience is still going to be able to like your products. I know it's not exactly for me, but I'm kind of into it still. But the person that is your target audience, the person that like is exactly who you were just describing, they're going to feel so fucking seen. They're going to feel like you like wormed your way into their brain or you're like the FBI agent monitoring behind the screen, right? Like they are going to feel so seen and so heard. If you put some people off, that's fine. Like probably the people that you were going to put off wouldn't have like purchased your work anyway, or wouldn't have been a kind of person that you want in your community anyway. Okay, so now you know what you're making and who would love it. So what we have to do next is figure out your plan for actually reaching those people. And this is where most creatives absolutely kill their growth. They try to be everywhere all at once. And this is like the people pleaser tendencies, but like just on platforms. You can't choose one, so you pick them all, and it's a disaster, right? You should not be posting on Instagram and on TikTok and on YouTube and on Twitter and also writing an email list and also having a podcast. That's a mess. If I find out that you are doing this, I can't zoom in more. If I find out that you are doing this, I swear to God, I will figure out where you live and we will have a very uncomfortable intervention, okay? Because you're gonna be like, what are you doing in my house, Kelsey? And I'm gonna be like, I need you to stop posting on every single platform because it is killing your business. I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna put in that effort, okay? There are a lot of you. That would be a lot of work for me. So here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to pick just 2 platforms. Just 2, okay? That's it. Not 15, okay? Just 2. And these 2 platforms will serve very different purposes in your business. The first platform is your discovery platform. This is where you are optimizing for eyeballs, as I like to say. This is where you are trying to get in front of new people that have never heard of you before. It's probably going to be a platform like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. It can be whatever you want. Just pick the one that you hate posting on the least. And then your next platform will be your nurturing platform, okay? This is where you build deep relationships. This is where you are not just trying to get views, but to actually connect with folks over time. Ideally, in my opinion, this should be an email list. I think email lists are kind of the only platform you actually control. I can export my email list as a CSV and take it to whatever email marketing platform I want. I am not locked into anything. There will not be an algorithm that, fucks up my reach. I just have that list and it's mine. I can directly contact my fans and customers. That is so meaningful. And the question that I want you to answer for this part of your business plan is not just what platforms you are going to post on, but how you are going to get folks to care about your work. Because the problem is not just in getting the eyeballs on your work. It's to have them actually stick around. It's to actually get them to continue watching your content. And I think the best way to figure this out is to think about what you like as a consumer, what creators you love and why you love them. You're probably not becoming a rabid fan of someone just because you love their artwork. There's probably more to it than that, right? Maybe you love their personality or the way they show up online or how they kind of bond with you over shared interests and values. There is usually a kind of deeper thing going on there. It's not just the work itself, it's how it's presented. It's the personality behind it. It's the person, right? That makes a difference. And I want you to be cognizant of why you like the creators that you do because that will inform your own business. So, as you are crafting your content strategy, I want you to think about what you are offering your audience other than just like, hey, here's this painting that I made. Are you, sharing why the work matters to you? You could talk about themes that you're exploring, research you've done, rabbit holes that you're currently in. You could talk about kind of the problems your audience is facing or the story you are trying to tell with your work. You could even kind of bond over shared interests and values, pop culture stuff, politics even. And of course, you can give them a window into not just your process, but your kind of unique creative brain, your journey, your story as a human. And all of these things will foster more emotional connection, not parasocial connection, okay? But like getting people to be emotionally invested in your work, getting people to care, to want to know what happens next, to want to know what's next for you, to want to, have your work in their home even. This kind of, content, all of these prompts that I just listed for you, they're really valuable. It's way more valuable to kind of add more context to your world and your work and who you are than content where you just turn your work around in a circle and you're like, hey, this is the painting that I made. That's kind of limiting in a way, right? And also, everyone else is doing it too. And eventually, that will be not the trend anymore. I want you to create content that is timeless. And creating content that is unforgettable and timeless requires you to build more, to have more substance behind your work and the things that you are communicating. But here's the hard reality. There are a lot of really talented creatives out there. There are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people making work that's similar to yours. So, why should someone care about you specifically? The way that you achieve this, the way that you stand out in a crowded room, is to be memorable, to create an experience or a brand that sticks in people's minds long after they have scrolled past your content. And a really great place to actually mine for ideas for how to be memorable is to just ask the people in your life. Ask them to describe your work in 3 words, or you, or your creative process, or the stories that you are telling, or how being around you makes them feel. Because often the things that make you memorable are just the things that make you you. And turning those traits up a notch and thinking about how you can lean into that more, that can take you a long way. Maybe there is a kind of particular color palette that you always use, or a specific way that you talk about your work. Crafting an unforgettable brand does not require you to be the best at what you do, but it does require you to be the most you at what you do. And think about somebody like Hank Green. There are plenty of educational creators who have more expertise in science and even better production value, but Hank Green is unforgettable because of kind of his very specific brand of nerdy enthusiasm and how heartfelt he is. And that shows up in everything he does, from his YouTube videos to even his appearance on Dimension 20. He played this character in their Mentopolis campaign that spouted off these trivia facts so ominously, and it was a really interesting kind of version of Hank Green. He was playing a character, but that character still felt on brand for him, right? And in his content, there is no question about science or biology that is too stupid or beneath him. He has this strong commitment to making complex topics approachable and easy to understand. That makes him stand out in a crowded room. He has leaned into those things, and his content is all the better for it. So I want you to think about how this applies to your own work. I want you to think about what personality traits or preferences or aesthetics you can amplify in your content to make you more you. We're just kind of taking the dial that is your personality and kind of turning it up a notch, right? And that's fun, it's exciting, it should feel authentic and cool to do this. Okay, so let's check in on our business plan so far. We have now covered what you are making, who would love what you're making, how you're going to reach them and make them care, and how you're going to be memorable. So now we have to talk about maybe the single most important thing that will bring this entire plan together. And don't get scared, okay? But it's the numbers. You can have the best creative work in the world, the most dialed in audience, the most memorable brand, but if you don't know how you're actually going to make money, you don't have a business. At best, you have an expensive hobby. So, the fifth question, the last thing that we have to figure out is how you are actually going to reach that big financial goal. And when you reverse engineer your goal, when you look at the numbers, you will eliminate all of the guesswork. You will know exactly how many orders you'll need, what products you should launch, and what you should focus on promoting in your marketing. So, let's start with the big question. What is your actual financial goal for the rest of the year? How much do you want to make? Give a number. Digits, okay? Don't vibes this out. Give a concrete number. It could be, $100,000. It could be $15,000. Doesn't matter what it is, just that you have the number in mind. Because what we're going to do is we are going to reverse engineer how you are going to reach that goal. We are going to figure out exactly what mix of products and prices and quantities you need to reach that goal. And if you don't want to do the math, that is totally valid. I have created a free kind of tool for you where I do all of the math for you. I will link it in the description. It is super simple. It's a Notion template. It's going to help you a lot. I have found it for my own business tremendously helpful. So let me walk you through how you are actually going to figure this out, how you are going to reverse engineer this goal. And the first thing that you're going to do is figure out kind of what mix of products you are going to sell, what products and at what price points you're going to offer them at. And then next, we're going to add some quantities. So for each product you listed, we're going to add how many you think you would be able to realistically sell. Think about your historic order numbers, right? How much inventory you have been able to move previously, and then set a goal based on those numbers. If you have never sold anything, keep your goal very small. Keep your goal very small so that you can kind of plan realistically. So let me walk you through an actual example. Let's say our goal is $100,000. Kind of crazy, a little ambitious, but let's figure it out. Let's say that we are an illustrator. We specialize in like children's book stuff, maybe, and our mix of products, also known as our offer suite, looks kind of like this. Number one, we sell 500 prints at an average of $35. That means that we are making $20,000 from prints. Next, maybe we sell 1,500 sticker packs at an average of $10. That would bring in $15,000. Maybe we're tabling at conventions or going to art fairs. Let's say we also sell 1,000 copies of a digital product at $20. Again, that brings in $20K. And then maybe we bring in a contract for a whole children's book illustration kind of package, right? We do the whole book. Maybe that's also valued at about $20K. Maybe it's kind of a big book. And then we have a Patreon that has 200 supporters at $5 a month, and then 100 at $10 a month. That would bring in $24,000. And then maybe to round things off, we have some brand deals coming in. That brings in about, $3,500-ish. And I think that brings us to $100K, right? And you can obviously change these numbers. The whole point is to customize it to your own business. This is just kind of placeholder content here, right? You should play around with it. You should kind of actively be thinking about, will I actually be able to move that much and hit that number? Or should I launch a new product that's, higher priced, what have you? But figuring this out is amazing. It will tell you whether or not you should raise your prices or focus hard on growing your audience, even launch a new product. And every single month, as you are posting content, you can just divide each quantity for kind of each product by 12 and create a monthly sales goal. And if the numbers don't add up, or if you, set a super unrealistic goal for yourself, it's really good to know that now than it is to know it later. Than it is to know it when you're 6 months into this and you realize oh, I have actually made it mathematically impossible to reach this number. That's really good to know, actually. So grab that free tool that I mentioned. I will leave a link for it in the description. Don't forget about the free event that I'm hosting. And while you are kind of waiting, while you're going through all this stuff, if you want to keep learning, watch this video next to learn more about the obstacles that you will face as a creative trying to grow your business and how to solve them. So I'll see you there.